What's up, everyone, and welcome to Project XTalk, an Xbox podcast, episode number 91. I'm your host, Kevin, aka The Muffin Mon, and today I'm joined by the self-proclaimed future of esports himself, Amon. How you doing?
Oh, Kevin, I'm doing as great as always. Our intro just bangs, man. Like, it just hits the
Ooh, it
spot.
does, doesn't it?
Absolutely amazing.
And that's when I play the correct intro, because if you noticed, I started the incorrect one and then had to quickly readjust.
Stop trying too hard to be my show, man. Come on.
Getting used to all the new files we got here. All right, but if you are watching live, we are also joined by a very special guest returning for what I believe is his third appearance, which ties him for most recurring guest on Project X Talk. He is the host of the Xbox Expansion Pass and co-host of Cast Co-op over on Season Gaming. He can be found each week having insightful and thoughtful discussions with members of the gaming industry and taking jabs at his good friend, Mr. Badbit. Lover of all things superhero, Luke Lohr, my friend, how are you doing?
I am fantastic. I'm honored to be here since you guys have started your new podcast network. It is a pleasure. And that was the coolest and best intro I think I've ever gotten. So thank you.
Oh, well, I've started trying to give people a little more glam when I introduce them instead of being like, "Oh, Luke's here," we'll spice it up. I always tell it like it is, because obviously, if you want to plug XEP right now, I listen every week. I love the show. Genuinely, some of the best interviews in the industry. Oh, and he's gone. Uh, that's
Weird. I'm
that's
usually
awkward.
the one with, Wi-Fi.
Oh no!
Wi-Fi
What
problems,
happened?
right?
What happened?
Luke Lohr
It's Kyle in
disappears.
the Luke Lohr disappeared. I assume he'll be back. It's Kyle in the chat says just delete the old ones. They're not the old ones. They're the frame by frame ones.
They're my show.
Uh,
That's my show's intro. Do you not
I
watch my
know.
show, Kyle? Come on.
And he's back. He has returned.
Did that? Did I do that?
You went away. I don't know what happened.
I went away. I'm so sorry. Whatever amazing thing you were saying, I apologize for interrupting with my.
It's all right. I was telling everyone how great XCP was, and was giving you a chance to plug it if you wanted. You can do that now if you would like.
Of course. So hello, everyone. I host the Xbox Expansion Pass. My name is Luke Lohr. XEP is a weekly podcast dedicated to the goings-on of the gaming verse as it pertains to the Xbox ecosystem specifically. And more importantly, I often do my best to bring on professionals from around the gaming industry to give us insight into what it is they do, be it voice acting, producing, narrative design, level design, whatever it is they might do to contribute to video games. I try to have professionals on to do so. Recent interviews like Sniper Elite 5, TMNT Shredder's Revenge, and Redout 2 are good examples of that. But I also try to have executives like Ed Freeze was on at one point, Lauren Lanning, etc. I like having people big and small from the gaming industry on to help spotlight what it is we as gamers don't know. And that's the goal of XEP, as it were.
Yeah, and like I said, you do a great job, and you've been getting some recognition lately, which I'm very happy to see because I think it's well deserved. You do some great interviews over there. Just wish everyone would give you credit. Just let's fix that. But if you want, you want to call him out, Luke?
Well, no, I don't want to call him. What I was going to say to the in joke is that I often have people who will spotlight or clip out parts of the show and then not credit XEP or me. But I will say that seems to be par for the course. That happens with written stuff as well. One of the nice things when, like, I'm a contributor for Season Gaming, when I do written interviews, which I have another one that's really cool in the works right now, it gives you pingbacks when people copy and paste your stuff and post it as their own. So, like, we know and see when it happens. And the big thing is I appreciate when the bigger outlets make an effort to do that or put me up top or put anybody up top. I appreciate that tremendously. And that doesn't always happen. But when it does, I am absolutely grateful. It doesn't always happen in tweets, which is, I think, where people get upset. But the more and more that it happens, the more I find it's not commonplace to do that right away. It's more just in the article. But I'm learning as much as anyone else. So we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, everyone go check out Luke's show. I'll let him plug it at the end of the show again in case you missed it. But I want to remind you that you can catch this podcast live every Thursday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time right here on youtube.com. If you can't catch us live, we post every Friday morning on your favorite podcast service. So while you're over there, please drop us a review, a rating. I think we're pushing 40 on Apple and almost 30 on Spotify. So if you guys can get our numbers up there, I would appreciate that very much. If you leave us a 5-star review, we will read it live on the show. If you'd like to interact with us more, please come join the Discord. It's been lively in there lately, especially with the rebrand. We got some new people coming in, lots of chats going on. Link is in the description down below. And if you want to support everyone here at Save the Game Media, our brand new podcast network, and get all of our new content like No Limits, a PlayStation podcast, Frame by Frame, a film TV podcast, or I Hate My Friends, head on over to patreon.com/Save the Game Media and choose the tier that is right for you. We'd also like to thank our current Patreon supporters, Bucky Blue, Hopple, and Alpaca Tom. So thank you all for your support. We appreciate you. Let me get housekeeping out of the way and go around the room and ask one simple question, and that question is, what you playing? So Luke, I want to know, what have you been playing, as if I don't have you on my Xbox friends list and see, but tell everyone what you've been playing.
Man, I have been back in hard on some Sea of Thieves lately. Back in hard. Like many live service games, there's an ebb and flow. Like I'll go through phases where I'm into something. I played all the Bond, the Bond 360 games. I'm working my way through those. But Sea of Thieves has its hooks back in me. I'm absolutely loving the grind for Athena rep. I mean, I've long since been Pirate Legend, and I literally checked a few minutes ago because somebody's arguing with me about PvE stuff. And I was like, man, I am 700 plus hours in on that game, and I love it. I love it.
Wow. Oh, okay. I Sea of Thieves has never gotten its hooks in me. I know Garrett, who kind of used to be on the show, obviously. Makes it when he can. He loves Sea of Thieves. He's a big Sea of Thieves guy. So he got us to play it once, Amon, right? I think we played it one night with him, and then I was like,
yeah,
I've
he
had
kept
enough.
getting
I've
really
had enough.
angry because I kept pushing him off the ship and killing him. But yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it's not for me for sure. And we'll talk about another pirate game a little later on. But
yes.
Amon,
yes.
what have you been playing?
So I've been playing only two things this entire week. Obviously FIFA 22. Ever since it's dropped on Game Pass, I've been playing that nonstop. I hate that game so much, but I can't stop playing it. Another game I've been playing with Garrett is Minecraft Dungeons. I told him to download it again, and he downloaded it. And we jumped back into some Minecraft dungeons. I'm loving that game, and can't wait for Minecraft Legends as well. Co-op Minecraft games are on top, guys. I know Kevin hates them, but co-op Minecraft games are on top.
I just don't understand why Minecraft has to be so ugly. Like that's my big
ugly,
issue
though.
with it,
It's
bro.
unique. It's
ugly.
artistic. It's artistic.
No, I hate Sea of Thieves is artistic, right? That's a pretty looking, like the water. Minecraft is just blocks. Don't like it.
It's unique. It was unique at its time, and it's still unique now.
Mom and Dad are fighting.
Unlike
what
Halo,
else is
it's
new?
unique.
Oh, come on now. Luke, I don't know if you've heard, but Amon thinks Halo is a generic space shooter.
Yes, I know. I've actively abstained from commenting on more than one episode of Project XTalk. There was one gentleman who shall not be named who once talked down and was like, Halo's a disappointment. This was like not 7 months in. It was like 2 or 3 months in when the game had 20 million players. I'm like, I even messaged you, was like, what is this guy talking about? This is crazy. And then Amon's foolishness over here. It's a generic space shooter. Like, what?
I mean, is it not? Is it not?
Yeah, it's not.
It's not. Like, it's
had this
actively
conversation enough times. We've had this conversation enough times.
It's like saying Star Wars is a generic geopolitical space combat evaluation. Like when you have comics, books, and games, and legitimately some bad live action stuff, but some good animated movies. Like, no, it's not a simple generic space shooter. It's so much more
better than every other shooter out there.
I would never advocated or said that it is or is not better.
I mean, people on our podcast have.
Well,
they've actively claimed that is the best shooter of all time.
I have not made that claim and will not, but I will tell you the mechanics in Halo Infinite are bar none elite.
right.
you know, up there with the best out of Bungie, and that's not meant to be a dig at previous. That's because Destiny is you know, peak performance in shooting. It's up there with Apex in terms of mechanics. Halo Infinite's got great mechanics, but I've never made the claim that it's the best or whatnot, because I really think that's far too subjective in a world where you have 20 million players trying out your game. What does that mean, right? So I'm not in that camp of advocating best or whatnot, but it is elite. It's not generic in the slightest, you know.
Finally.
Well, it's a conversation for another day, indeed.
No,
but yeah.
it's a conversation we have too much. Too much. I'm putting an end to it. All right. No more Halo talk from you, Amon. All right. Anytime a Halo topic, you can scoot on over to frame by frame.
I'm gonna be
that
the
week,
first
all
one
right?
when the next Halo drops from 343. I'm gonna be the first one on the spoiler cast, guys.
I think you and me did the spoiler cast, and you liked Infinite.
I liked Infinite, but I didn't think it was revolutionary, which it had to be.
I don't know. Well, I don't know that it had to be, but like, I don't think it was revolutionary either, but it was good, enjoyable.
It was
fun.
good. It was enjoyable, but you know, the expectations were a lot higher. The expectations set by the audience were a lot higher, and it didn't meet mine for sure.
That's a bummer. I hate that for you.
Yeah.
That's the nicest way to say it. I hate that for you.
Not
Well, no, I
everyone
do,
who's been on
like-
this podcast has been that nice about it.
Well,
Yeah.
the worst thing that happens in gaming, and it happens with every major, typically exclusive AAA title, is that the audience, and typically it's the audience that doesn't actually play the games actively, will set expectations and then expect social media and everyone involved in it to meet that bar or exceed that bar. And that's just not how games work. The road to Halo Infinite's launch was one of the bumpiest. The fact that we got the product we did is insane. And we're very fortunate. That doesn't mean I'm not very upset 7 to 8 months in, wondering why, you know what I mean? But that's not the point. Like, anyone that's expecting God of War Ragnarok to be revolutionary will also be disappointed. But if they're expecting more God of War, peak performance visuals and gameplay, a great writing story, they're gonna have an absolute blast. And I'm there day one on like God of War Ragnarok, and like, heck yeah. I sometimes expectations work so hard against the simple enjoyment of video games that it really sucks.
Yeah, I agree with you there, Luke, 100%. But my main problem was the expectations Xbox themselves had set were pretty high. And in my opinion, I didn't think they met those expectations.
Okay.
I can't argue that they set expectations at various points there, but the team that's working on it now, I don't think is the same one. Very similar to, we see this happen with a lot of games. Like a good example is Avengers, which I play actively. Sea of Thieves in the very beginning. I mean, what's the most Last of Us? The whole multiplayer component isn't coming now. It's now its own thing. So if your expectations were to be included with you, disappointed. And so I think that just happens, and sometimes people misspeak. And another good example of that is anyone, no matter who it is, that read an article about Perfect Dark, Microsoft in that one PR blast that said Quad A has now ruined.
Oh, it drives me nuts, man.
That poor team who has nothing to do with that vernacular now has to live up to something that is just not realistic. And that stinks.
Cheveruni in the chat says the key to happiness is managing expectations.
Cheveruni is a wise person.
Sure. I agree with that. I'll wrap up our What You Playing here because I've only been playing one game for the last 2 weeks, and that is Fire Emblem 3 Hopes. I have now completed all 3 routes. I finished at about 62 hours, which I'm going to make the declaration. A Warriors game should not last 62 hours. It is far too long to just be mashing the same buttons over and over again. It gets very repetitive towards the end. I found myself skipping some missions because they give you the option to do that. New Game Plus makes it the difficulty is non-existent to start with, but New Game Plus really makes it a breeze. So you could finish most routes a third of the time after your first playthrough. Great game though, loved it. As I said last week, currently my game of the year. I really, really enjoyed it. And Muso games need to keep this formula going where they actually make a good game and not just take the character models and throw them into a Warriors game. Like, iterate and get the essence of what the other game was, because this is basically 3 houses just with different gameplay in a lot of aspects.
I have
So-
nothing to contribute on that.
Yeah, I think I'm the. I was say I don't peg you for the weeb type there, Luke.
I am not, but I'd play a Muso game in a genre I liked, Star Wars, Halo, something like that.
Ooh, a Star Wars Muso would be awesome.
That
Yeah.
would be really cool. That would be really cool, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the
Yeah.
formula. I really enjoyed the Hyrule Warriors. I really liked that one. I never played the second one, but I really
Mhm.
enjoyed. Like, if it's in a coding that I enjoy, yeah, I'm in on that. The gameplay's cool. I just wouldn't get in on the weeb element of it.
Yeah, there's a lot of weeb in this, like going to on dates with people and eating dinner with them and giving them gifts. So if you didn't enjoy that, it's probably not up your alley.
Midnight Suns sounds a lot like that too. So that,
Yeah,
yeah.
I can't wait to go on a date with Iron Man.
Yeah. Yep.
Not
I'm worried about Midnight Suns.
Ooh, I see. I'm excited for Midnight Suns.
I'm excited as well. It's like Persona X Marvel.
Will you get the card system?
See, that stuff to me is not fun. It's like, it's weird for me to not be excited for a superhero game because
Mhm.
I mean, my three most anticipated games this holiday are Gotham Knights, Avatar, and God of War. But Gotham Knights, like, people are questioning it. I understand, and I'm like, yo, I get it. Midnight Suns looks like it's going to be a top quality game, but like when I hear card battling and such, I'm like, I don't know if that's for me, and that sucks because those trailers are cool. You know,
I do wonder why they keep showing those CG trailers instead of gameplay trailers, and I think it's because they don't want to put people off.
I think you're right, and I think that's what's going to happen. I think a lot of people are going to get it and be disappointed. And while it's not a 1-to-1, I often think about Gears Tactics. It's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but it's a strategy game taking a known characters, known IP. And I thought it was in their favor that they showed a lot of gameplay early.
I love Gears Tactics. I'm one of its biggest supporters. Me
It's a
and
great
Jez
game.
Corden over there. I
Mhm.
like it more than Gears 5. I'm like straight up. I like it more than Gears. Yeah,
Wow, okay.
yeah, I do. I'm not actually that big of a fan of Gears 5, which is like I know everyone loved it, but
Wow.
I thought I liked the other ones better. It's probably my least favorite Gears game.
When you ask about a Gears game, you get the same conversation you get with like Halo or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Is it the multiplayer that gets you in or out? Is it the single player?
Single
PvE?
player.
You're a single player guy. So
Yeah, I
when
don't
we
care
talk
about
about Halo, okay. Gears 5, you hated it, I heard, because it was a woman in charge. That was what you said to me privately,
No,
right?
no,
Kate Diaz. Didn't like
no.
that.
Love
Save
love
game
Kate
media,
Diaz.
everyone.
That's
I'm
hilarious.
sorry, I had to do it. I had to do it.
Who do you think I am, Joe?
Yeah, sorry. You're right. I trolled you like you were Joe. No, it was a different formula to its single
was.
player. What was it that you didn't click with?
I think it was the change, and I went in just expecting more of the traditional Gears, and the fact they kind of made it like a semi-open type area didn't really vibe with me because maybe it's not what I expected. I always played a co-op with my brother, and we were kind of feeling the same way, that it wasn't the continuation of Gears 4 that I felt it was going to be. It kind of like shifted focus, in my opinion, but it's still good. It's just not amazing in my opinion. Like, they're all great. I love all the Gears games.
Gears 1 was very claustrophobic. It funneled you constantly, whereas Gears 5 was wide linear. That's kind of like Metro Exodus and those not quite open worlds. It was wide linear. And in some ways it really, like, I wish it would kind of go back to its horror roots, but I still really enjoyed the game a lot.
Yeah. I want more of the creeping through the city streets under lights and trying not to get eaten alive. That's what I'm looking for. But we can get into the news for this week. So sit down and while I tell you some stories from the library. So story number 1, and this comes from an Xbox Wire post. I got an email about it, but it's starting in October. Xbox Games with Gold will no longer include Xbox 360 games. According to Microsoft, they have reached the limit of adding new Xbox 360 games to Games with Gold. It will continue to offer Xbox One games. Any Xbox 360 games you have downloaded will be re-downloadable regardless of membership. I want to get your initial thoughts on this. Luke, I'll throw it over to you first since you were the guest. What are you feeling about them taking no more 360 games?
It doesn't bother me in the slightest. It's an inevitability. There's no one in their right mind can complain that Microsoft hasn't provided access to tons of games backward compatibly via its subscription services and such. Anyone can argue the quality of games with gold, but they can't argue that 360 has been very well supported through all of Microsoft's platforms. But it's an inevitability, and so I'm absolutely fine with it. Doesn't affect me or hurt me in the slightest. And they do regular backward compatible sales too. So cool.
Mm-hmm. Aman, initial thoughts? I have a broader question we're going to get into regarding this, but I want to get your initial thoughts.
Yeah, I mean, right. It's reached a point where they can't do much more now. They've added almost every game there's been on the 360. And for me personally, it doesn't really affect me because I rarely play the games with gold, games that are offered. But yeah, as Luke said, it is an inevitability, and it had to happen one day.
So with that, there's been obviously the discussion that people have had. We've heard rumors that Microsoft is thinking about getting rid of Xbox Live Gold. In my view, taking the 360 games out of this, yes, I understand they've hit their limit, but does that not in some way decrease the value of your Xbox Live Gold membership? Because you can no longer get a certain library of games. It's now only Xbox One games. What happens when they hit that limit, which I imagine will be in the next few years, right? If Games of Gold is long for this world, is it time for them to just say, okay, Xbox Live Gold is going away in general because they're already taking, are they going to up the Xbox One games that only increases the rate at which they're going to run out of that? So the value proposition here for Xbox Live Gold is decreasing in my eyes. I just don't see how it's sustainable. And what are they going to do to remedy it? And I'm like, maybe they should get rid of it. What are you thinking, Luke?
I mean, I've advocated multiple times that games with gold should go away, because it hasn't been providing the games on the quality that people are expecting, and it's become a punching bag for games that are actually pretty good. They've had some good games that are small go in there that are actually getting beat up because they're included in games with gold. And Games with Gold doesn't compare well to its apples to apples comparison in PlayStation Plus. Lumping that in with Game Pass or the like would be a way to kind of avoid some of the troubles for those games that are launching, or good little $10, $15 games for Xbox One or Series X, smart delivery, what have you. It'd be a good way to mimic that. But I do not think that it devalues Games with Gold any longer. There was a time where that absolutely would have been the case. I don't think we're there anymore. 3 years ago, that'd have been a hit. But now at the point we're at, where they've done everything they can do with back compat, which is a program that's now done, which sucks because I didn't get some of the ones I wanted, where you can't have access to some of them, and they've gone through its library. It's time. I think it's okay to sunset it in this way. And I don't think you're losing value at this point.
Okay. Does it hurt the overall Xbox Live, not Games with Gold, just the Xbox Live Gold subscription service? Do you think this is losing value from the gold, like how Gold, Game Pass Ultimate? Is it time to get rid of that and move everyone over to Game Pass?
Soon. I don't know for sure, but I'd want metrics on that one. But like, it feels like yes. I don't know anyone that is saying they're Games with Gold that isn't Game Pass, with the caveat that, like, I'm a content creator in a content creation space where people are engaged, and so that's the caveat, right? Like, if the metrics are showing that people are using it, rock on. But I don't think we need Games with Gold anymore. But I'm also not singing its death tolls the way I might have been a year ago. At this point, it's like Games with Gold is what it is, but Game Pass is where we should be.
Yeah, I think they eventually want to reach a point where they've run out of games, and then they're gonna eventually shut off the service. But yeah, I don't think it's necessarily hurting Games with Gold, but I think that is a gateway for people to eventually bring them up to Game Pass, or upgrade them up to Game Pass Ultimate, eventually when those games do run out. So yeah, I don't necessarily think it should go away, but it's just a natural progression where when they eventually do run out of games, they can slowly move them all over to Game Pass.
I do wonder what is the magical point we get to where they're like, okay, Xbox Live Gold subscriptions are just no more. We're not going to sell them, kind of like we saw Sony do with PS Now, and everything's going to be Game Pass. You're going to have, whether it's Game Pass normal, Game Pass Ultimate, or they introduce some new tier. And I talked about this with Sam over on Exhibition, and we were talking about maybe replacing the Xbox Live Gold subscription, which is what, like $5 a month, or maybe it's 10. I don't remember.
No, it breaks down to $5 a month.
Does
I think
it?
if you do the year, if you do the full year, I think that's what it breaks down to.
So if it's maybe replacing that with a cloud only sort of subscription tier. So like it's still a Game Pass tier, but you can stream everything. It takes out the PC, it takes out it's only cloud version. So that way that you kind of have the entry point of getting in the cloud, and then if you get a console, you can get the Game Pass and then or bundle it all together. So in that system, I think that 3-tier kind of makes more sense in my mind. And getting rid of the need for a subscription to play online obviously would be a big point. Or Xbox Live Gold, if you have any of the Game Pass subscriptions, then just allowing you to play online. But it's a tricky situation. I don't think they want to introduce more confusion with more tiers, because I know a lot of people that are confused about the new PlayStation Plus tiers, and that is, like you were saying, Luke, if you're in the space and you pay attention to it all, it's not very confusing how the new tiers break down over there. But if you are a casual consumer, I think introducing new products is kind of confusing, especially when you take things away, and they've had it for Xbox Live has been around for 20 years, right? So like if they take away that gold subscription, it's going to be a whole new world. And I think that could scare some people.
I agree. Yeah, that's the thing. It's all a matter of, it's not always how good your product is, it's how good you can make your product seem. And that is a big difference. And the tier system that PlayStation has, it's not rocket science, but it is difficult for the common consumer to get. And one thing, I tangentially in my mind was like, oh, when grandma goes to the store, shut up. I can't stand that argument anymore. Like, who does that? But it is a complex system to the casual fan, and that is something that Sony needs to work on. I think they also need to work on continuing to incentivize their top tier, premium tier is what I call it. Because the mid tier on that one seems like it's just right, and if it's just right for my arch nemesis Joseph Moran, who literally hosts a PlayStation show, it's not very good. You don't have to watch it, but if that's good for him, then they need to work on their top tier, because I can't imagine an Xbox content creator not wanting the best of Game Pass, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there does need to be some equaling out there. But in all that, I did the classic thing that we shouldn't do, and that's compare services that are not meant to be compared. But when it's money and dollars that are on the line, and time on the line, then maybe it is a comparison. Circular.
Do we know what the
arguments.
numbers are on Xbox Live Gold?
No,
Oh,
it was
Okay, so,
high a
I
long
mean,
time ago.
I want to say it was
if they've kept it
50
around
last.
so long,
I want to say it was
if they've kept
50
it around
last
so
time.
long, then, I mean, if they've kept it around so long, there must be a decent demand over there.
Oh, I'm sure,
That's the only logical reasoning I could come down to.
Oh yeah, because you have to. It's keeping people in the ecosystem because they're logged in, and that's the key to money is logged in.
Right.
So I'm sure it's high. That's more than likely, Amon, why they don't want to get rid of it. The question is, can they roll it over without it being tumultuous? And I don't know.
I mean, there were a lot of people that didn't get an Xbox One and that they were still on their 360. Like 360 doesn't have Game Pass, so they were still over there. Like, as far as I know, they don't have Game Pass. That'd be weird if they had Game Pass app on their 360. But they were all on Xbox Live Gold, and that was a huge player base over there. So like, even if 1/4 of them didn't migrate to Xbox One, because that's probably underselling it with the Xbox One sales. Looking at it, you would still have a huge player base on Xbox Live Gold. So it would be a task to migrate them all over to a new sort of subscription and make them feel like, hey, I'm still getting my value's worth. I don't know. I still think Xbox Live Gold needs to go away. We either need to just Game Pass is what we're going to do going forward. Make that work, make it affordable for everyone that for some reason doesn't want to spend the $5 more a month or the $10 more a month, because I understand, especially now, things are expensive. All right. Inflation's 600% or something. So we got to make it a value proposition for those people that haven't upgraded yet. But if no one has
Agree.
anything else, we can talk more about Game Pass with our little Game Pass update here. As we do twice a month here, we let you know what games are coming to Xbox Game Pass so you can plan your gaming accordingly. Available now, you have Last Call for PC Game Pass. You also have the return of Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami 2 for cloud console and PC. You have Matchpoint Tennis Championship for cloud console PC, which I hear is not very good. I think it got a 5 out of 10. And you have Road 96 for cloud console PC, which I've heard great things about. Next week, July 14th, you get Escape Academy for console PC, My Friend Peppa Pig for cloud console and PC, Overwhelm for PC, Paw Patrol the Movie Adventure City Calls for cloud console PC, and Power Wash Simulator for cloud console PC. I believe Garden Story is also coming on the 12th, but that wasn't included in the write-up for some reason. So, Aman, any of these games piquing your interest? You want to jump into any of these?
Oh yes, the global British phenomenon that is Peppa Pig. Amazing TV show. I grew up watching it. I still watch it sometimes, but yeah, great show. Love it, and can't wait to play the game. One thing, even Yakuza 0, I would say, because last time it was on Game Pass, I was playing through half of it and then just left Game Pass, so I could never complete it. But now I can jump back in and finish that story. Road 96. Ethan has been talking about it a lot. He's been urging me to play it, so
What
I
is
might
it?
check that out as well. I have no idea.
I believe it's a narrative, like story based, like you choose kind of like a Telltale game.
Okay.
Right.
So
Okay.
I've heard good things. Ethan said he really enjoyed it. Liv
Yeah.
over at Between Two Gamers, she talked it up to me as well. I know she really liked it. Not my kind of game, but if you enjoy those, I hear this is a really good one.
Also, Patreons, just a quick announcement for the Patreons. Make sure to go over to patreon.com/SaveTheGameMedia and vote for Peppa Pig for the game that Kevin has being forced to play this month. So make sure to vote for Peppa Pig, everybody.
Yeah, I was going to talk about that. So one of our new tiers is called the Make Me Suffer tier. I believe there's something about that. And that allows you to vote for a game that I play off Game Pass or PS Plus. And the idea is that you guys make me pick bad games to play, all right? So your options this month were My Friend Peppa Pig, the Paw Patrol game, Balan Wonderworld, or what was the last one? Ape Escape, which I had to make these up. Going forward, you guys can suggest games that I can put in the poll, and then you can vote on those. But right now, My Friend Peppa Pig is winning. Please don't make me play My Friend Peppa Pig. I'd actually rather play Balan Wonderworld. So if you want to go over, you gotta send us a few bucks, and then you can vote, and I'll do a review of the whole shebang, make a video, and you can see how miserable I was. But
Patreons, you know what to do. You know what to do. Come on,
Luke,
make him suffer.
Luke, you looking forward to any of these?
No, not really. I always think it's funny when Game Pass gets this massive like there's a lot of good stuff in this update from the Yakuza games. There's a lot of good narrative games because I was scrolling through after I asked my question. Even Matchpoint looks like it's pretty solid in there. But what's cool about it is that there's so much that I have to play thanks to Game Pass anyway, is that this update doesn't need to speak to me. And it's still bringing a lot of quality. Like, I'm sure that as much as you and I are joking, there are plenty of people that are celebrating Peppa Pig and Paw Patrol entering into the service.
Court Lalonde.
Yeah, who plays with his daughter all the time. Like, without irony, I think it's great to see those titles in there because, I mean, they're never for me and they're not really for any of us unless you're a content creator that's deciding to put your life on the line with your Patreon subscribers. I don't know who would do that. But like, I love seeing updates like this because there's so much variety there that someone's got something there, and that's cool. Like, that's the fun part, and that's what I hope we continue to get out of this service. But do you guys ever worry that like there's just like there's a point of diminishing returns. Like it's almost too good in terms of quality. Like what more can you add at this point? And I always wonder that. Like what's the next big thing? It's like maybe Cyberpunk, and then like what else you got? You know, I always wonder that when I see these Game Pass updates.
I think I've talked about the future of like where we see Game Pass going, and my view of it is always once Xbox first party starts actually firing on all cylinders next year. It's the one, all right. We haven't said it before. Next year is when they come off, but once they get going, I view Game Pass more as the service for those first party titles, and then mainly an indie and double A service. I think
Yeah.
you will probably see a reduction in day one double or triple A third party games, and that's completely fine with me. I don't need those because there is a lot of quality in the double A and indie space that's getting added into this. Like I know I joke about the Peppa Pig game, but it still has an 80 on Open Critic or whatever. So like by all accounts, it's not really that bad of a game.
No one said it was bad, Kevin. You decided it was bad. All right, it's gonna be a masterpiece. Trust me, you're gonna love it. Can't wait to see the Game Pass in review for Peppa Pig.
Shout out Happy Cloud Gamer for stopping by in the chat. Oh, and Mostly Martinez is here. He says, you are a
Yo.
good looking group of gamers.
Mostly
Man.
Martinez is so supportive of XEP. Shout out to them.
He is awesome. He private messaged me, very kind and thoughtful message a few weeks ago. He's an awesome guy. Really, really like Mostly Martinez, and he has a podcast. So why don't you go over to his Twitter?
Wait, really?
Yeah, he does. Mostly Star Wars, I believe it's called.
Oh,
Dude,
wow.
how did I not know that? Thank you for the heads up, because I
Yeah,
will
thanks for that.
absolutely
Future frame
check
by
that out.
frame guest, maybe.
Talk to him about it. Great dude.
Oh yeah.
Always welcome here. Fantastic. Sam in
Yes.
the chat from
Yes,
No Limits,
Sam.
Peppa Pig Supremacy. Oh man, chat is blowing up. We also got SAZ stopping by. Welcome to the chat. But Game Pass, yeah, I'm on. You, what do you see the future of Game Pass? You worried about the quality?
No, not really. I mean, Microsoft has made these big money acquisitions, and Activision, Blizzard, and Bethesda for Game Pass. They want to have, like Phil Spencer said, a big AAA game every quarter, and then you can also have those small indie sort of games, like how Project Pentiment is, like Grounded, Sea of Thieves. You can have those smaller games in there as well. So yeah, I mean, the future of Game Pass is great in my opinion, especially with all these big money acquisitions that have come in. Yeah, I think it's looking good.
Great. We can move on past that quick little update here. This one might not have any, depending on if you guys have played this game, I don't know if you have many comments, but Lollipop Chainsaw is getting a remake in 2023. This was announced by Dragami Games. Lollipop Chainsaw will get a remake next year. It's going to be developed by a combination of development staff from the original, including the original game producer and new development staff. The game will have a more realistic graphic style and will essentially have a brand new soundtrack due to licensing. Chris Scullion at VGC also says that Suda51 and James Gunn both have said they have nothing to do with this remake. Suda51 was the creative director on the original, while James Gunn was actually the co-writer. In a tweet, James Gunn said, quote, "I neither endorse nor condemn it. I simply don't know anything about it. But as articles are starting to slap our names on there, I think it's important to make clear no one has ever approached us about it." With Suda adding, like James Gunn says, neither he nor I are involved with the project at this point. Luke, are you familiar with Lollipop Chainsaw?
Yes, I had the circumstance of working at GameStop when this game came out. And so I sold this game to a lot of people. I really appreciate James Gunn's tweet, because it's like, I don't condemn it. I don't diss it. It's not bad, but I'm not with it either. I don't understand a lot of, like, there are people that really get into Suda51 games, and I don't get into them, but I also don't condemn them. Like, I don't click with them. They're not for me, but they're also not like something I look away from. When I played Lollipop Chainsaw, I thought the mechanics were really bad, and it was really clunky and difficult. and the cheerleader aesthetic slash and zombies, it wasn't enough to keep me in that game. But if they're remaking it and they can make it smoother, I'm in to kill some zombies. I love zombie killing, but I never got it. You know what I mean? Like it just
I know
never
what you mean.
understood it. It like there are more racy games that you could play, like more like Galgun or something that's more in that realm. So are you trying to be that, or are you trying to be a zombie kill? I never quite understood it. So it's cool because I know that Suda51 has his fans, but like, what does this mean? I have no idea.
Yeah, Suda51 is kind of like Hideo Kojima with me. I don't get why they're these revered figures. They have kind of like a cult following, and obviously Hideo Kojima is much more, I don't want to say successful, but his games are more critically acclaimed than Suda51's games. But none of them have clicked with me, and Lollipop Chainsaw certainly isn't one, because as you were saying, it is kind of towing that line between, we want this to be kind of like a zombie slash, like a hack and slash Dead Rising type game, but also we're gonna try to be a little edgy and have our character like have a revealing cheerleader outfit and kind of push those things that flew back in when it came out over a decade ago, but now might not be so acceptable in certain
That's a very
parts.
good point. I don't know. Yeah, it towed a line, a weird line, because it's a high school cheerleader. Does that play as well in 2022 when everyone's trying to cancel everyone and there's a lot more awareness about other things going on and people are being more mindful, particularly in the gaming industry, about what they say, do, and their actions and the consequences of those? And I don't know that it does play well here.
I think that's one of the reasons people were so surprised that it is getting a remake, because there's a lot of things in this game that might be considered offensive by today's standards, and we kind of say this with Destroy All Humans. Actually, the remake of that is actually very faithful. And they don't try, like the character models back in the day, it was kind of like a satire. Like a lot of the characters are very revealing clothing wise, and they didn't change anything, and people didn't have any sort of like backlash to that as far as I know. But that was kind of like, those are NPCs, it's like you're an alien, it's a whole different ballpark than like putting you in a skimpy cheerleader outfit and being like, you're a teenage girl, like go enjoy the world we've created here.
Yeah it's weird. It's weird. I don't know how to react to that stuff.
Aman, do you have any familiarity with Lollipop Chainsaw? You're kind of young for that.
This is the first time I'm hearing of it. The name sounds pretty cool. I was just looking up some images, and I can see why it might be a problem, especially for today's generation of gamers. I can't really say much because I haven't played the original, or this is literally the first time I'm hearing of it.
I forget how young Aman is. He'd never heard of Lollipop Chain. That was like a thing at one point during the 360 PS3 generation. That was like a big deal because it was Suda51 and because of its weirdness, because it was a cheerleader with a chainsaw slash. It was so odd. It was. Kevin, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. It was, I would constantly like turn on G4 and like see Lollipop Chainsaw stuff. It was around. It was very weird. The game came out in 2012, so literally a decade ago. It's a different time, Aman. All right, you're 13, right? So you were probably just coming out of the womb back then. Probably not appropriate for you to play, but yeah, it was the early 2010s. All right, you had a lot of like weird edgy, there were some movies like that too that kind of had this style where it was like, we're gonna have a woman,
I'm familiar with the movies.
A woman not wearing many clothing articles, and then she's gonna be like a straight badass and just like murder a bunch of people. So it's super weird, the things we were doing back then.
I'm very familiar with movies. I wasn't much into gaming back then. I just used to play like the basic stuff, Call of Duty, FIFA. But I'm very familiar with what you mean by the movies.
Well, we'll see how that turns out. I wonder if they're going to change anything. They say remake, which to me means like 1-to-1, but Final Fantasy VII remake has proved that not to be the case. So they could
Resident
change
Evil
stuff.
2 remake.
That's true. That's true. Remake no
Yeah.
longer means 1-to-1. So we'll see. Mostly Martinez. Haha. Is he young or are we old?
You
No.
guys
It'll
are a
be
bunch
like that.
of boomers. I'm doing a podcast with a bunch of boomers here.
A millennial, yo. What are you talking about?
Joking.
I don't know what I am.
29. I'm 29.
I'm 36. I'm 36.
I think you might be a millennial
21.
too, Luke.
Yeah.
21.
Yeah, I think you might fall in the millennial camp here. But no, he's young. He's young, mostly Martinez. He's literally like 21. So we can move on to a little story about Red Dead Redemption and GTA 4 remasters that were reportedly canceled. This comes from Amelia Zollner at IGN, who says, according to a prominent leaker and reported by Kotaku, both Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto 4 remasters were on the table a few years ago, but Rockstar chose not to proceed with the projects. According to the report, the poor reception of GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition was also one of the reasons cited as they not proceeding with the remasters. So, Amon, I'm gonna throw it to you first. What are you thinking? Remasters not coming out for these games?
I mean, I was kind of hurt that we're not getting a Red Dead Redemption remaster, because that's one of my favorite games of all time. Absolutely love that game way more than Red Dead Redemption 2. I know that's a hot take, but yeah, it was kind of disappointing, but also kind of it was bittersweet, I guess, because now they're gonna put all their efforts on GTA 6. So I guess it's bittersweet. Yeah, that's all I have.
Luke and I had the same reaction. That's not a hot take.
Not even a little.
It's not a hot
No.
take. Oh wow, okay.
No.
No, because like
no.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is like so well received, and but yeah.
No, I don't think it is. I don't think it's not well received either. I just think that Red Dead 1 was special and revolutionary, to your point about Halo from previously in the show. Whereas Red Dead 2 kind of drank its own Kool-Aid and went so far into needing to be detailed. And I think Rockstar has this problem. They go so far down a rabbit hole, they forget that it's a video game and they go into simulation territory. Red Dead 1, you could still feel like a video game and a cowboy at the same time. And 2, the mechanics went a little bit overboard. With caveat, mind you, let me be very clear to any listener. I've not played it. I'm going off of things that like Ains has told me, reviews that I've listened to, things that I've read. But when I read and heard those things, I abstained from Red Dead 2. I was like, that's not really what I want out of it, the experience. So take that all with the grain of salt, knowing that I've not put hands on a controller with it.
Yeah, I've also not played Red Dead 2. I've heard a lot of podcasts be like, it's not just a lot of walking, and you lose interest in things. You lose interest in the activities you're meant to be doing in the world of Red Dead Redemption 2, which, as far as I know, wasn't an issue in the first one. My friend absolutely loves Red Dead 1. Those games aren't up my alley. I'm not a Rockstar guy, so like this report to me, I'm not losing anything here because I don't play Grand Theft Auto. I don't play the Red Dead games. Rockstar remasters doesn't hurt me at all. Like, they're a company I just don't jive with, but I know there are plenty of people, hundreds of millions, that love these particular games and would have loved to see a remaster, because I know the definitive edition was a joke, right? Like, we all saw the memes of like weird character models, weird lighting, the rain doing this funky stuff. That whole thing was a mess. It wasn't handled properly. But I don't see the issue with putting out these games if you took the time and actually made them a good remaster. Like, how hard would that be, Rockstar?
I mean, I guess they just want to put all their efforts towards GTA 6 right now, right? And from what it looks like, it's gonna be a very big game, GTA 6. Like,
if we ever play it,
yeah, that is.
If we ever play it, you know.
Yeah.
So, and the thing with definitive editions and remakes and whatnot is like, it's got to be done well. It's got to be done right. And you either need to be so faithful to the original that it's truly a remaster, or it's a full-on remake, Resident Evil 2 style. but no in between. None of that definitive edition mess that Rockstar put out, and it's hard to have confidence in Rockstar given their approach to things, because it takes forever for something to come out. They abandon different things with GTA 5. We saw multiple. We saw multiple. I mean, that was a 360 game. Then it was an Xbox One game. Now it's an Xbox Series X game.
Yeah.
Props to them for supporting their community and their game. The thing rakes in money, and don't misunderstand that. But like, I'm done. Long past done. I played that on PS3, and I don't even think I played it on. I don't think I played it on PS4 or Xbox One. I don't think I did. I think I was in PS3 territory with GTA 5. So yeah, and GTA 4 wasn't that good. I don't think it was that good. Just for the record, I was clunky and slow and boring. I didn't enjoy it at all. So
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Amon, you were in diapers when that came out, but it was not good.
Oh yeah. But yeah, I get your point about the remasters. Like, remake nowadays is such a broad term. You can have remakes looking like the latest GTA Definitive Edition thing they had, and you can also have Resident Evil 2 and Final Fantasy 7 level remakes. So it's a very broad term these days. So yeah, I totally get that.
SAZ in the chat says, it's been so long that my interest in GTA 6 has waned to almost zero. I'll have to come out and get a high 90s on Metacritic to renew my interest. I can only say that GTA 6 is going to sell gangbusters regardless.
Oh yeah.
Like,
Oh yeah.
The people that are buying GTA 5, they're probably all in. The daily players in Grand Theft Auto Online, they're going to want to stay in Grand Theft Auto Online, which will no doubtably get migrated over to GTA 6. It's gonna be huge. But just for the record, GTA 4 came out in 2008, Amon. So what were you, like, 7?
Wow. 7, yep.
Yeah.
God, wow. I mean,
Actually,
I did play GTA Vice City like when I was like 10-ish. Like my uncle had it on his PC, which was like super old. But yeah, that's like one of the first ever video games I've ever played, GTA Vice City. And I love the fact I could just go around like beating the crap out of random people on the street. And yeah, that's like what opened the doors to gaming for me. And then I got into this rabbit hole.
Beating up hookers inspired Amon's love of video games. You heard it here first, people.
Yeah.
All right. Last thing I want to touch on, guys. Skull and Bones, the long rumored is it canceled, is it not, Ubisoft game, finally was revealed this morning. They did a gameplay live stream. They had some discussions with the developers. As the Sea of Thieves fan here, Luke, how are you feeling about Skull and Bones?
Well, I did not think it was real, and so I was shocked to see the state that it was in. I was shocked to see how good it looked. I think they've got a lot of really good things going for it. I watched a good bit of the trailer, not the trailer, the live stream today, and Ubisoft looks like they've got a very Ubisoft game on their hands. Assassin's Creed meets Sea of Thieves. Sea of Creed is the joke going around. I made the potential analogy that like this Sea of Thieves is Fortnite, Skull and Bones is Warzone. You know, you're getting a pirate game, you're getting some similarities, but you're gonna have enough differences, and that's what I want. I want another game to push Sea of Thieves to be better, and if Skull and Bones is that, I'm in. I mean, I'm interested day one. I'm not going to play it day one because God of War.
Yep.
What a terrible release date for that poor game. But
Oh yeah.
Like the game looks like it's very well made, and Ubisoft has a track record of putting out very playable games, right? The problem is they're all very similar. And so how much special are we going to get with this? What are we going to get in the PvE, PvP side of it? How are they going to handle it? I like the infamy stuff they're doing that allows you to kind of build your own fleet. I think there's enough differences that it's going to be able to stand on its own just fine, but simultaneously push Rare to make a better Sea of Thieves game, and in doing so push Skull and Bones. But it really feels like what we have are two legit pirate games now, because Atlas kind of fell flat. And great.
I don't even know what Atlas is, to be honest.
It's like an open world pirate game that came and went. At least to my knowledge, it came and went. It could be like World of Tanks where it's got its own audience and they just never
Mhm.
intersect with us. But it looks like Skull and Bones is going to intersect pretty heavily with the Sea of Thieves community. A lot of Sea of Thieves streamers were live streaming this for the Twitch drops, which
Yeah.
was really interesting to see. You know, I'm a big fan of Sea of Thieves, but I go in and out, and maybe during those phases of out, I'm checking out Skull and Bones. You know, like that's cool. Is there enough difference? And if there is, rock on.
Mm-hmm. Aman, what did you catch any of it?
Yes, I did. I did see the main trailer. I didn't get a chance to watch the full live stream, but I did see the trailer, and yeah, it looks very fun. I'm definitely interested, especially for someone who's played quite a decent amount of Sea of Thieves. It reminds me some of that Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You know, all the pirate stuff and all of that. You know, getting your sailing your ship, having all those cannon battles and all of that. It looks fun, definitely. So I'm definitely interested. But my biggest takeaway from this here is that there's still hope for Beyond Good and Evil 2, because we still haven't heard about that game. And from the day I saw that trailer, I fell in love, and I hope one day that game sees the light of day, because we all thought Skull and Bones was canceled. Turns out it's not. And yeah, Beyond Good and Evil, please, please, please be real.
We'll see about Beyond Good and Evil. If we want to just focus on the game that currently exists, Skull and Bones. What I saw was a game that looked better than I imagined, because I expected a train wreck. To be honest, I expected it to come out graphically. I think it looks really good. Like the character models, the ship, everything.
Oh, yeah.
It looks like an actually like, oh wow, this is a higher budget and good looking game. My concerns is that I'm not into pirates, which is a big thing for me.
You
So
watch
it's hard
One
to,
Piece and you're not into pirates. Come on.
they're not real pirates, bro. They're not real pirates, all right? But it's the same issue I have with Sea of Thieves. Is I worry that I will not find fun because I'm going to have to like choose my own adventure. I don't really like choosing my own adventure. That's a big concern. So that's one of the reasons like Sea of Thieves I can't connect with. So that concern is still there for me. I do think it has enough interesting and different mechanics from Sea of Thieves. Like there's more of a some management stuff going on in Skull and Bones, and obviously the art style completely different. Combat looks different. Looks like you said more like Assassin's Creed Black Flag than Sea of Thieves. I'm not sold, especially not day one, because as Luke said, God of War is literally the 4 hours later at midnight or whatever, whenever this game launches. Yeah. I cannot see this game selling well until there's like a discount for it, right? Which for Ubisoft games, there's discounts all the time. Black Friday will be soon. I imagine this game will get people to pick it up at full price. I just don't see them selling a lot of copies day one. I think people are going to make that choice.
It's going to be the live stream community that sells that game. It's going to be those that it dawned on me as I watched all the Sea of Thieves content creators covering this game. Some of them paid, many of them not. And they were clear that they were being paid. I don't mean like some like weird, stupid. I mean, like generally they were like, hey, it's a sponsored Twitch drops. Here you go. I think that it's going to depend largely on how the community takes to it. There is a massive interest in this game strictly because it's a pirate game, a sailing game. We know that Assassin's Creed has nailed the mechanics of a good ship naval combat scenario. They did that so well with Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah.
And pirates have their own very unique following, kind of like vampires. There's an entire community that's interested because of it being pirates, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I think it'll do very well on day one. I'm not sure that it'll intersect with the God of War community, but I think it will for the people like us, right? We're interested, but we're not like there. The people that are there. And I think there's going to be a lot of them. I just don't know how many of them are in these spaces for conversations. I think that's the difference, but time will tell. You've got a lot to cram into this holiday, and I feel like I say this every year, but like I didn't think there was a lot this holiday, and it's really there's not a lot of first party. There's God of War, but then you've got
Gotham
Ubisoft's
Knights,
Gotham Knights. Yes. Last of
Midnight
Us
Suns,
remake,
Plague Tale.
Plague Tale,
October's
Avatar,
packed. Yeah. Oh yeah. We don't even know. We don't have a Hogwarts. Yeah, that's another one in there.
Hogwarts.
There's a lot.
Yeah, and to answer your Avatar thing, it's been kept under wraps. My understanding, James Cameron's very protective. That's my thoughts. That's my thing.
Okay. All right. I'm interested because I'm not. If anyone's listening, if you want more discussion on Skull and Bones, I think Captain Logan over at the Keyhole podcast will probably discuss it because he's kind of like anything Sea of Thieves related is kind of like I look to him because he knows what he's talking about. So I imagine he's going to be covering this as well because it kind of intersects with that community. And I assume he has some opinions. I haven't looked, haven't talked to him, but I think that's a good resource to go if you're interested in a more like detailed conversation about the differences between the two games, because that's not something I can cover.
And first, shout out to Logan. I love Captain Logan, but I've sailed with him a few times on the Sea of Thieves. He and I play that game for 100% different reasons. Like the objective when we play, when he's on our crew with my group or whatnot, you can feel it. It's like two very polite forces tugging at what we want to do in the world. And that's what's so cool about it, I think, because I consider him a good friend. I love his content. I listen to his Tequila Hauled, but he gets something so different out of the game that I do. And as a result, his takes on Skull and Bones are going to be different as well. And that's the coolest part to me. Like, there's going to be so much fun for people. The choose your own adventure can be a problem, Kev, to your point, but that directionless approach does allow people to find the joy in different ways. And that's how I'm curious of Sea of Thieves. Amon, is your neck broke all episode, man? You've been all over the place. Are you okay? I'm just worried about you, man.
My back's just killing me today for some odd reason. My back's just killing me. So yeah,
you're young, you're spry. Sell some blood. Get yourself a chair. Let's make it happen, dude. I bought my 360 selling plasma. You can do this.
You gotta get one of the chairs with these nice rests.
The lumbar support,
the lumbar pillow is top notch. Tell you what.
Yeah, definitely need to invest one when I move to Michigan. But about Skull and Bones, do you guys think it's a Game Pass game? I definitely can see this game launching day one with Game Pass for some reason.
If I'm Ubisoft, I'm asking for that. If I'm Microsoft, I'm not asking for that.
Yeah. That's where I'm at. Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, man.
Oh, okay,
it's their most successful Xbox IP, man. Like everybody dogs on it, but it's literally the most successful Xbox IP in the last 10 years.
It's got like 20 plus million players, right? 20, probably 25 by now. Like,
but does that mean they go with Ubisoft go with the new PlayStation Plus, Premium, or Extra?
I think you're more likely to see it launch over there than Xbox.
That would be interesting.
It could be a deal if they're not overly confident in the sales. I think that's a deal they try to make, and then you have Skull and Bones not competing with Sea of Thieves, but it's on a subscription service. It's on the other platform. It would be an interesting thing to see for sure. That's a good thought. Mostly Martinez says looks fun. I've never played Sea of Thieves, but have wanted to. This looks legit. And one thing go on. So one thing I did want to bring up was they mentioned PvE and PvP servers for Skull and Bones, right? I know. I think Luke, you're excited. You're one of the people that I've seen bring up the lack of PvE servers in Sea of Thieves.
Man, I literally have someone in my DMs and all my mentions right now who does not follow me, mad at me because I want PvE. And I'm a guy with 700 hours in PvP servers on Sea of Thieves, but like, why not? Like, if Court Lalonde, who we brought up earlier, wants to play with his daughter, he shouldn't have to fear going on and getting wrecked by some people just to get some gold and smash some skellies. And so I think it's a really big benefit to Skull and Bones that they're going to have this option. And like, that's cool. Like, props to them. Their art style is not approachable, whereas Sea of Thieves is. Like, I mean, that's a bad wording. What I mean to say is Sea of Thieves looks like it's a kid's game, like looks
Yep.
like you can get in and relax, and you can't. Far the opposite. Skull and Bones looks like you're in for a simulation, like you're gonna fight the whole way through. It looks like Assassin's Creed. So maybe not as big an issue there, but I'm so glad to see that, because like the reason I play some of the games I do is because I don't want to compete with people. Like my favorite, like I play games where I don't have to fight others because sometimes I just don't have it in me to to pay attention and get in there. The older I get.
Yep, I'm the same way. Me and my friends are gravitating more towards PvE games where we can all play together and just play against AI as opposed to real people. So I wonder if PvE proves successful in Skull and Bones if we see Rare react to that and add their own PvE server. That's just a thought.
Dear
Could
6
be.
pound, 8 ounce infant baby Jesus, lying in your manger. Give me PvE and Sea of Thieves. I hope so. I hope so.
Amon, anything left to say on Skull and Bones before we wrap this show up?
I mean, nothing else to add, but yeah, looking forward to it. Quite excited. Well, I can see two scenarios playing out here. I mean, three. Sorry. Either the game gets delayed, because of its release date really close to God of War, or it ends up being on PlayStation Plus Premium or Extra, or it's just gonna lose out on all the sales and become another Battlefield 2047.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You said I see two things happening, and then name three things.
No, I said three. I corrected myself. I said three.
Last comment before we get out of here. Mostly Martinez. PvE would be awesome for the reason, I think he means Luke, not Court. And I agree. Sometimes it's nice to play a game and be in sweat mode. Yep, fully agree. Excited. That's all we got for today, guys. Been a little light on news. Well, not light on Xbox related news, but I hope you guys enjoyed the show. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Follow Save Game Media on Twitter, because apparently makes the handle too long on Twitter. Learned that when I was trying to change everything the other day. So Save Game Media over there. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. We're pushing for 500 subscribers. Would really appreciate any help towards that. And check out all of our new podcasts. Save the Game Media. We got Frame by Frame, No Limits, and I Hate My Friends. And like I said, patreon.com/Save the Game Media for early access and a bunch of other benefits. Really, we've tailored this whole experience to getting you guys more involved with the community. So head on over there. Luke, thank you so much for coming by, man. Love having you on always. We always have a good time. At least I do. I hope you do too. But
of course.
Can you once again let everyone know where they can find you?
Sure. I will ask that everybody support your new endeavors with Save Game Media. I think it's awesome. You guys have done a fantastic job, and rebranding is tough. So cheers to you guys, and anybody that's interested in after adding Save Game Media to their repertoire, adding XEP as well. You can find me on Twitter at InsipidGhost. And you can find me on all your podcast services, the Xbox Expansion Pass. Like, share, and subscribe, please. The ratings help so much. Please, please, please.
Ring the bell.
Yeah. There you go.
Amon, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Amon_M05.
And you can find me at the Muffin Mon. It's a 1 instead of an I and an O instead of an A. Until next Thursday, we'll see you. Goodbye.